Hey, John Hickok here. Well, Mossberg finally came out with a left-handed version of the Mossberg Shockwave. Now, you may not know what I mean by that. Let me show you. All right, let's get these lined up here. All right. That's right, the Mossberg 20 gauge, left-handed or weak-handed. You know, some people are left-hand dominated. Is that the right term? I don't know. The left-handed Shockwave. Let's take a look at it. All right. So for those of us that you know, always operate these guns with both hands, we've kind of had a complaint that, you know, the 12 gauge, you know, it's fine for your strong hand, but it's a little powerful for your weak hand. So we kind of needed a left-handed version or a right-handed version if you're left-handed, and they finally answered that call with the Mossberg Shockwave 20 gauge. Would you look at that? Of course, I'm just kidding. I don't think anybody shoots them this way, unless they're just having fun like I'm doing out here. So yeah, the 20 gauge Mossberg Shockwave. I think it was actually a smart move on Mossberg's part to offer this in 20 gauge, because it makes sense. It kind of lends to what the purpose is, I think, for this gun, which people will disagree on that. Some people will say this gun has no purpose, it's only for fun. Some people say it has, you know, a lot of tactical purpose. I don't know, I'm kind of in the middle. I think, you know, I don't have tactical training experience or anything like that, but it is a shotgun. I tend to think that, you know, at close range it can be pretty effective, but of course something like this over this Winchester over here with a full-length stock is obviously going to be far superior. But if you want to have something short, I think it does have some advantages, and especially over the 90-degree angle shotgun grips, because we've all probably shot those, right, where you have a pistol grip shotgun, and instead of this Raptor style grip where it kind of comes back at a, I don't know, more of a sloping pace instead of a hard 90-degree angle, it's just a lot easier on your wrist and your hand when you fire it, instead of taking all of that recoil right directly into your wrist. So the advantage of this is it gives you the ability to have that type of grip, but without sacrificing on the length, because it's not technically a shotgun, it's a firearm, which allows you to have a 14-inch barrel. Because if you had for example, a shotgun like this, because this is a shotgun, it is required to have, by law, without going through NFA paperwork, an 18-inch barrel. So if you have one of these with a 90-degree angle on it, then you're looking at something that's really not much longer than this 14-inch barrel Shockwave, but you've got that hard kicking grip angle to deal with. But if you wanted a grip like this on that shotgun, then it does get, you know, considerably longer. So I think there's some advantage to the Shockwave in that sense, but it, you know, obviously it definitely does not replace a shoulder stock on a shotgun, and I think most of us know that. But with that being said, if you were to use one of these in self-defense, or you just want to have fun shooting one, because it doesn't have a shoulder stock on it, the recoil is kind of more of an issue. And let me kind of demonstrate. Let's see. Let's shoot the 12 gauge one quickly here. Pop a few of these in. Of course, we appreciate. All right. So this is the 12 gauge Shockwave. All right. Let's go with that yellow 2-liter down there. Throw the bucket. All right. Also, don't forget, if you haven't joined, as you can see, you know, there's just field loads, but there's a noticeable, of course, amount of recoil. I'm kind of a big guy, just like that. I'm 6'8", 250 pounds, so it's not a big deal for me. But for some people who are more recoil sensitive, they're going to maybe struggle with something like this. But with the 20 gauge, the advantage is, you know, from you know, the shooting that we've done with this thing so far, prior to making this video, I kind of determined that it's really about 50% of the recoil, I think, with just at least with standard field loads. It's a little bit lighter. It's about a little less than a half-pound lighter than the 12 gauge Shockwave. And you can see it does have a, which I'll show you that in a second, it does have kind of a smaller profile. It's a different gun. It's not the exact same frame. Everything has been scaled down just a little bit for the most part. I mean, I imagine like the trigger guard and some of that stuff. Not even that looks, oh, trigger guard might be the same, but as you can see, I'll go ahead and show you. Safety on. As you can see, the 20 gauge is just kind of a slimmer gun, just in general, but not a lot lighter. It's not a huge difference. Like I said, about half a pound, a little less, something like that. But the 20 gauge, obviously, you guys have shot a lot of that. It kicks quite a bit less than the 12 gauge, just in general in any gun. Okay. Did I put one in? Nope. All right, let's try the trash can. All right. So like I said, it's about half the recoil that you're going to experience out of the 12 gauge. So if you like something like this and you have a little trouble shooting this one, then you'll probably have an easier time with this. I mean, it's still a shotgun. I mean, that's the thing. It's I mean, 20 gauge is nothing to sneeze at. Look at the size difference here. You kind of see it's considerably smaller, but you know, I haven't run any ballistics tests or anything on it, but I would say, well, compared to like a 12 gauge mini shell, I would say the 20 gauge, at least seems, just from kind of shooting around out here, seems to definitely be superior to a 12 gauge mini shell. You know, I don't know as far as the power of the 12 gauge versus the 20, what that would come out to, but you know, for kind of general self-defense in the home at close range, you know, I would imagine that a 20 gauge would still get the job done. That's what I would assume. You know, maybe I'm wrong on that, but you know, watching it knock stuff around out here, it definitely seems like a serious round, even though it's not 12 gauge, but a little easier to shoot. That's kind of the advantage that you get out of this thing. You sacrifice a little bit of power, of course, because it's not a 12 gauge. You know, as far as round availability, I mean, you know, you can still get all the same stuff in 20 gauge, slugs or double aught buck and all that kind of stuff. I'm mostly just shooting the birdshot today because I want a better side-by-side comparison. Let's try that. Oh, it looks like we already leaked out that jug down there. Let's try the one on top of the shooting tree from shootsomesteel.com. Another thing too with these guns, because they don't have a shoulder stock, you know, you kind of have to hold them up in front of your face a little bit if you want to aim them at all. And one concern that you might have with the 12 gauge is popping yourself in the face, especially on a cold day like this. It's just not as likely to be an issue with this gun because of the reduced recoil. Oh, couldn't remember if I jacked one in. Look at that, made a fountain. Let's try the green one. Let's get that soda can. Look at that. All right, load it up again. Yeah, this thing's a lot of fun. And honestly, to me, the biggest appeal of these things, you know, I don't use these as my home defense gun or anything. I think the big appeal is just that you have the ability to have a shotgun or a firearm, but that, you know, seems like a shotgun, right? There's some legal mumbo jumbo involved in why it's not a shotgun. That if you want to learn more about that, go into the original Shockwave video and check that out. But the big appeal of this thing to me is the fact that you get something that looks like a shotgun, acts like a shotgun, is a firearm, but has a 14-inch barrel where normally you would have to have an 18-inch barrel, right? So there's a little bit of a novelty associated with that makes it kind of cool because of all the NFA laws in this country. So, you know, that's a lot of the appeal, but that's not to say it doesn't still have some practical applications, because it's, you know, it's a Mossberg, it's 590. It's a very solid shotgun with a good reputation. It's small, and I think they're pretty manageable. Look at that, keep jacking out live rounds. Oh yeah, I almost forgot to shoot this target. Just gonna do that before I forget. All right, let's see if I can get a bullseye with every single pellet. It's impossible, especially if you have the safety on. Thing that's shooting very high. All right, I don't want to tear it up too much more. Okay, got one left. We've got a little bit of that 2-liter left over there. All right. One thing that Dad pointed out in the original video that they don't seem to have fixed yet is on this, I call it the sissy strap, but I took mine off on my shotgun, but not necessarily, I don't know if that's the best idea, but I didn't feel like I needed it. But it does help. You don't have to worry about your hand slipping off or anything. But it does have these really sharp edges there on the inside, and that doesn't seem like anything that they've addressed yet. Dad had addressed it himself with that, I forget what the kind of tape that is, but some kind of cloth-based tape. And on the back too, get a little extra grip. It looks like they've added, placed a sling mount there. You can put a sling swivel there, which on some of these early ones they didn't have that. I don't know if they're shipping all of them with that on there now or not. You still have the same, 5-round capacity. It's a 590. Everything basically functions the same. It's just kind of, just basically the 12 gauge is kind of the jumbo version. A little bit of difference in the fore end. You can see right there. Not a big deal. A little thinner. Almost seems a little bit like a different style, but not a lot. You still just have the front bead. Imagine you could attach a rail up here. Put a EOTech on there. Some kind of big red dot or something like that. But they're pretty neat for what they are. Again, their big selling point is 14-inch barrel. On a 12 gauge or a 20 gauge. That's the big appeal of these things in a lot of ways. But if you feel like you have a purpose for one of these, I say go for it. They seem like solid, well-built shotguns. And if you like the Shockwave in general, but you feel like 12 was a little much, I think it's kind of cool that they have the 20 gauge option. I would still probably just stick with the 12 gauge because I feel like I can handle it okay. But that 50% roughly reduction in recoil is kind of cool if that's something that you're interested in. So anyways, there's the Mossberg Shockwave 20 gauge, the left-handed version for those of you dual wielders out there. But I hope you guys got something out of that video, and I appreciate you guys for tuning in, and I'll check you next time. Hey, how's it going? It's trash day here on the compound, and since you guys are still here after the video, just wanted to let you know about our friends over at SDI, the Sonoran Desert Institute. They're a fully accredited online distance learning program where you can be certified in gunsmithing, or you can get an associate's degree in firearms technology. And that's sdi.edu, so go check them out if you're interested in that. Also, we appreciate Vaultex Safes, vaultexsafes.com. You've seen those pistol safes on the shooting table in some of our videos, so check them out if you're interested in a pistol safe. And also shootsomesteel.com, so where we got this shooting tree from, and some of our other various steel targets, so we appreciate all of their support. And if you want to see all of our other different locations out on the interwebs, don't forget to check out our website, hickok45.com, and also full30.com. And you can also find us on Facebook there's Hickok45 Facebook, there's John Hickok Facebook, where I do stuff, and there's the real Hickok45 on Instagram, and then there's John_Hickok45 on Instagram, where I do stuff, and then there's the Hickok45 and Son YouTube channel. There's, of course, our t-shirts are on the website. So just basically go to hickok45.com, and you can find everything that we're doing over there. And that's, I think, about it. That's all I had to say. So I'll talk to you guys later.